Hello everyone, this is Ronnie from UK Fruitfest, and this will be the last video that I make as part of my series around my book Raw Vegan Myths, which is out at the moment and really finishes today or very quickly in the next 14, 12, 24 hours, something like that. So you need to go get that now if you're going to get that book. It's the book in the bundle. Click the link below to get that. It's called Raw Vegan Myths Debunked, going through 15 different myths around the raw vegan diet and lifestyle. And the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle that goes along with that, which is a fantastic resource. So go and check that out. So two things I want to talk about in this video. The last myths. One would be that you can't get enough protein on a raw vegan diet. And we'll look at that. But also the idea that you can't build muscle or you lose all your muscle on a raw vegan diet. So I kind of want to talk about both of these. And both of these things are kind of related to certain fears that people have, and particularly men, I suppose. A lot of men get convinced in this idea of, bodybuilding and building more muscle and all this kind of stuff, and that's related to protein. And, in the bodybuilding world, people eat huge amounts of protein. It's pretty crazy. But the recommended amounts of protein on a daily basis are somewhere set around 50 grams for men, 40 grams for women, something like that. Now, can you get 50 or 40 grams of protein on a raw vegan diet on a daily basis? Well, the first thing to note is protein is made up of amino acids. So there's a whole idea of complete protein. We have proteins that are human proteins that are made from amino acids in a particular order. They're linked together, amino acids in a particular order, for your skin, your hair, and all these parts of your body. So it's essential to have protein in your diet. But the common idea used to be you had to eat complete protein, and meat is a complete protein. But what you don't need is complete protein. What you need is amino acids, because it's the body that makes the protein. So if you're taking complete protein, your body's going to have to break that down to be able to use that anyway. It'll break that down into amino acids. If you cook food, there's evidence to suggest you're damaging a lot of the protein. So if you're having to cook that food, you're damaging those proteins and you won't be able to use them so much. So raw foods are good for that because you're not damaging the protein, but also plant foods have all the amino acids that we need. And famously, Dr. Michael Greger continuously says all plant foods have all of the amino acids that we require, which makes complete sense because some animals are herbivores and they need all the proteins as well. So all plant foods have all the available proteins. I guess the question is, how much can we get? So if we need apparently 50 grams, 40 grams, how do we get that on a raw vegan diet? So if we were to just eat fruit in a day and get all of our calories from bananas, apples, oranges, things like that, we would probably find, if we tried to hit 50 grams of protein, we'd probably find we'd have to eat more than usual to get to 50 grams or 40 grams. You might have to have double the amount that you usually eat in a day, because fruit is relatively low in protein compared to other foods per calorie. Now, what that might indicate is a couple of things. It might indicate that humans are intended to have a very active lifestyle, and that would have forced us to eat more, and then we would have hit the protein needs perfectly. Or it could be that we actually don't need as much protein. Or it could be that we need a diet of fruit and other things. So when we eat fruit and other things, fruit and vegetables, and we can quite easily meet our protein needs if the protein needs are 50 grams. And certainly if you want to add nuts and seeds, you can, and if you want to add sprouts, you can quite easily increase the protein levels. So on a raw vegan diet, it's really easy to get high protein if you like, and it's all protein if you want, and hit those limits. So that's the first thing to say. It's easy to do that on a raw vegan diet. However, the question really is, are those limits right? What Dr. McDougall suggests, I think it was Dr. McDougall, suggests that the limits for protein are often set at double what are really required, because they set some of these limits in line with what the worst digesting person. So it's in line for the person that has the worst ability to assimilate protein. We need to set it at the level that's right for them. So the level is artificially inflated. And I think they mentioned that it could be double what it actually needs to be, which is interesting, because if we then go back to looking at a fruit diet, it basically works in perfectly. If we cut the level in half to 25 grams, we can easily, it almost perfectly matches 25 grams for fruit, for a day of fruit. And that is in line with a lot of things. Mother's milk is about 5% protein, mother's milk. High protein is a problem. And where is the whole thing about, like, the whole thing of protein being so important goes back to the fact that very, very early on, it was isolated, and it was thought to be incredibly important. And it was thought to be, okay, this must be the reason why we want to eat meat, because there's so much protein in it. That must be really important. And that's why, there's people around the world that are starving, having nutritional problems, and the protein must be the reason that we are healthier. And that was the kind of way it was looked at. So they tried to increase the protein in other people's diets around the world. Then they realized that that wasn't right, and that was a problem. And eventually now, high protein diets are connected with disease, and connected with kidney problems, and connected with heart disease and things like that. So high protein diets are not healthy, and are not seen to be healthy. And furthermore, people really never get never get protein deficiency. Protein deficiency basically doesn't exist. So it seems like our protein needs are actually not very high. So it makes sense that everything would fall in line with it being a lower level. And might even be even lower than that. But fruits tend to fall in line with that, and it tends to fall in line with the calories. So 5% of mother's milk is 5% of mother's milk is protein. So if we take 2,000 calories multiplied by 5%, gives 100 calories, right? So 2,000 calorie diet, 5% gives 100 calories of protein. If we're talking about 5%, should be 100 calories of protein. If we divide that by 4, because 4 calories to a gram protein, for every gram of protein there's 4 calories. It goes to 25 grams. What do you get if you have a day of fruit? About 20 to 25 grams. Kind of works out really well there. So, and if you add some vegetables in, you'll be over that. So, I mean, protein's not really an issue. It's not an issue in a vegan diet. It's not an issue in a fruit diet. So let's get to muscle. Why do people lose muscle on a raw vegan diet? A lot of people lose muscle on a raw vegan diet because they stop exercising. Like, a lot of people get into the detox mindset. They want to fast and cleanse. They eat too little. They don't have any energy to exercise anymore. They don't really care about exercise anymore. Maybe they don't care about building muscle. They're more interested in healing their body. And they stop exercising and they lose their muscle. I mean, that's what happens. Some people don't even lose their muscle because they maintain their exercise. But what happens is they just lose weight. They don't eat enough and they lose weight. Some lose water weight. And that water makes people look bigger. So they think they've lost muscle. But they've not. Some of them just lose fat. That fat makes you look bigger. It makes you think you got more muscle. But that's not the case. So a lot of what people end up losing is water weight and fat weight. And if they cut down on calories and stop exercising, yeah, they're going to lose their muscle. But that'll happen gradually. It won't happen very quickly. As far as I'm aware, we're very good at maintaining muscle. It's not easy to lose it. I might be wrong about that, but this is what I've heard, that it takes time to grow muscle. It takes time to lose muscle. It's not something that kind of happens instantly. So, yeah, basically people lose muscle because they stop exercising, and they lose size because their diet is less, there's less salt in it, less inflammation. So it's got, you hold on to less water, and you lose fat, and that fat was maybe making you look bigger as well. That's basically what seems to happen. Because there's plenty of raw vegan athletes, or vegan athletes and raw vegan athletes. There's been raw vegan bodybuilders and strength athletes. So there's no reason for anyone to lose weight, and if you want to be fat in a raw vegan diet, you can do that too. You know, if you want to get big and fat, you can. We don't see that many bodybuilders who are raw vegan. There probably have been some though. We don't see that many. It's not quite conducive to the healthy lifestyle bodybuilding, some of the sacrifices you have to make. So anyway, that you can read more about that in the book. Raw Vegan Bundle out right now, ending basically today. Go and get it, check it out. Hope you enjoy it. I think you'll get a lot out of it. Link below, and I'll see you in another video. Thank you very much for watching, and feel free to like, share, and subscribe.